Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks to everyone who watched the video that I did with Lena from Lena Down Under yesterday. Thank you for your comments and thank you for keeping us company. Um, so there's a bunch of things I want to look at today. Not particularly thematic in nature. So let's just pull something off the list and get going. All right. So the first thing I want to look at is, and these are not really in order of any importance to me or to us. It's just what's on the list. So I see that Chief Justice John Roberts and his wife apparently were the recipients of as much as $20 million from companies which the justice decided cases for. Now, pretty sure that that's illegal. Not that that seems to stop anyone from doing anything these days, right? But what I want to know, hope springs eternal. I just thought I'd look to see whether he will, in the end, have to answer for that. And answer for that can mean anything from paying a fine, paying the money back, being removed from office, retiring early. I'm not optimistic, but I just want to see if he will have a consequence for having essentially, I mean, taken bribe money in his capacity as Chief Justice. Again, allegedly, and this is for entertainment purposes only, I'm going to use the older man, and that will stand for Chief Justice Roberts. Okay. Looking for the older man. Okay. So this stands for Chief Justice John Roberts. Okay, so we have the moon, we have the child, we have Roberts, we have Clover, and we have the rider. So this is the original five cards. And I just want to say with these two, in the eyes of the public, meaning you and me, yeah, his reputation is diminished. It's already diminished, but even more diminished. 20 million is a lot of money. Um, he, this is Clover's a great card, but I feel like this is very much playing fast and loose. That's what he did. He gambled. He was risky around this. Maybe I assume either thinking that the information would never can't come out, or saying, well, so what if it comes out? I'm Chief Justice Roberts. I can do whatever I want. Um, and then the rider is about news, but I've pulled clarifiers for that. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. So I pulled clarifiers on Justice Roberts himself. And we have the tree, we have the clouds, we have the stork. So this is him. Normally this is the card, the tree is the card for health. He could, I mean, I think he could say maybe that he's having health issues, and so his future on the court is uncertain. But I think that's just so that he can go off into greener pastures on his own terms, as opposed to being dismissed from office, because who exactly will be doing the dismissing, right? Okay, so this is this fast and loose card. Here he is having, you know, gambled with his position and his power. Clarifiers are the key, the fox, and the dog. I mean, I think he gambled and I think he won the key. He's got the keys to that 20 million. I don't love when I see these two cards together because it's like one dresses up as the other. He comes across as I'm the Chief Justice, I'm all about fairness, etc. But really, he's on the take, allegedly, and got away with it and will have gotten away with it. The rider is clarified by the house, the woman, the bouquet. I'm going to assume that this is his wife here. And the message is, so long as you continue to play ball with the powers that be, the people who really run things, um, you will be rewarded. I just think he doesn't care what we think. I think he doesn't care what we discover. He will take his money and ride into the sunset, because uh, in the immortal words of the housewife of Atlanta, if any of you ever watched that franchise, I watched it many years ago when my daughter was living at home with me. And there was a character woman named Sheree. And so she was at some event, it was some dinner or something. And a guy came up to her. He was mad at her about something. And he came, you know how men can be imposing and loud. And so she was seated in a chair, and he comes up to her all blustery and big and bad. And she just looked at him like this, like she was bored. And she said, "Who gonna check me, boo? You?" And it became like this meme. And I think that that's Justice Roberts saying to us, "Who gonna check me, boo? You?" So, he's one of those slimy ones, like so many of them are on the court and in government, who will get away with that. There'll be all kinds of reasons to justify the 20 million. And I think the 20 million is just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, he will have gotten away with it, sad to say. Okay. Um, let's look at the notorious triumvirate in the news, which would be Patel, Gabbard, and Hegseth. Um, Everyone is banking on Patel getting axed, including Patel, sooner rather than later. Of course, we're talking about Kash Patel, who is the head of the FBI. What is Patel's fate? He's not an old man. I'm going to use the young man energy. Plus, he's foolhardy, reckless, drunk, allegedly. So let's look and see what Patel's fate is. I've always seen him getting fired, but let's see, because this is topical. Yeah, this is what's going on in the news right now. So let's just see whether anything's changed, or whether the cards still indicate that Patel will be fired. Remember, we're looking for the young man because of his brash, sort of inchoate energy. Okay. Inchoate meaning sort of disorganized and out of control and incoherent. Yeah. So, okay. Um, we have the scythe, we have the lily, we have Patel, we have birds, and we have clouds. So the first thing I want to talk about is the birds in the clouds, right? Because we know people in the FBI are not fans of his, that there's a lot of talk among the rank and file of the FBI that they don't like him, they don't trust him, they want nothing to do with him. Uh, Patel's in the center, and then we have the scythe and the lily. I find it interesting that the cards come in this order instead of the other order, like birds, clouds, Patel, scythe, lily would have been a more satisfactory reading because you could see sort of cause, the fact that there's all that buzz about him and he's distracting from the work, and then effect, which is him being fired. But instead, the order is shifted a little bit, um, which is odd. Now, with the scythe as the very first card, yeah, I think he will um, be fired. But I can mirror the scythe with the clouds. I think he's shown poor judgment, and that's why he'll be fired. I think that's what that's all about. And I think that once he is fired, people will feel more at ease. These are people in the FBI. Now, again, he could fire somebody, the felon. Who's he going to put in Patel's place? Someone worse? We don't know. But the cards still indicate that Patel will be fired sooner rather than later. Okay, Tulsi is interesting. She's the, um, what is it? What? Oh, hold on. Let me get her exact title. Uh, yeah, Director of National Intelligence. She's the one that looks kind of like Cruella de Vil with the white streak in her hair. Not that I'm anybody to talk because I have a white streak in my hair too. But yeah, it's an interesting post that she's been given because for years there's been speculation about her and what side she actually is on. Um, she acts often like an asset of a foreign government, whether it's Iraq or Iran or Russia, and yet she is director of national intelligence. She is not in favor of the war, so that's a point for her side. She's not in favor of the war, and we know that the felon doesn't like people who don't roll with his program. So I'm going to use. I mean, she's not old or anything, but I am going to use the older woman for Tulsi, and let's look and see what her fate will be. Will she be fired? We're looking this time for the older woman. That's Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, that stands for her. Well, you know what? We have Star, Art, Gabbard, Snake, and again, Clouds. Here's the thing. She is someone who will, even as she disagrees with the war, she will profess loyalty to the felon. She's very good at playing both sides against the middle. The thing is, of course, she's in the middle. She cannot be trusted any farther than she can be thrown. And I think she is quite the unknown quantity. There may be people aside from the felon who want her in the position that she's in and would like her to remain in that position. Talking about you, Vladimir. And remember that the felon is compromised and may have to, well, or feels that he has to do the bidding of his masters. His masters are Netanyahu and um, um, Putin. So I can mirror the star and the clouds, but I just get the feeling that even though she is a snake in the grass and untrustworthy, she does a good enough job, snow job, with the felon that she doesn't get the axe. Not yet, anyway. I don't see it. They're saying he wants to fire everybody, whatever. Again, she knows how to play both sides against the middle, and I think she'll continue to do that. Hegseth, I have said, and I'm not going to look at it, but I think Hegseth remains safe because he's the one that will take the fall in the end. So the felon needs him there as long as possible. Um, because, absent Hegseth, well, who are we going to blame for this war but the felon? Now, the whole logic is incredibly faulty because, of course, we blame the felon. Hegseth is a racist, misogynistic mouthpiece. Let's look at him. Let's look. So I'm going to use the older man this time for Hegseth and see. He's got a million kids, got a lot of white in his hair. So he can be the older man. I'm sure he would not appreciate that, but I don't care. So we're using the older man for Hegseth, and let's see, is he on the chopping block too? Because I don't think he is, but that's just my opinion. And we want to know what the cards have to say. What did I say? Yeah, the older man. That's Hegseth. So we have the sun, we have the book, we have Hegseth, we have the scales, and we have the mountain. Yeah, I think that the felon will do a cost benefit analysis in the inimical way, in the inimitable way, meaning nobody does it like he does. He will do a cost benefit analysis and decide that for the moment Hegseth stays. That's what I think. Hegseth, he doesn't know what he's doing because, you know, National Guard service notwithstanding, that hardly qualifies you to be the head of the entire military, Department of Defense, Department of War, whatever he wants to call it. He just doesn't know what he's doing. But that said, I think the felon does a cost benefit analysis and says, I'm going to keep him in his position for now. Okay. Um, King Charles is going to be visiting the United States, including, of course, visiting the felon. The felon, of course, has said that he thinks this visit will go a long way to helping the relationship between the UK and the US. If there is an issue between us, which of course there is, the felon, of course, is the one responsible for it, but okay. Um, what should we know about this trip that King Charles is making here? Will anything of import, I guess that's the question, will anything important result from Charles's trip here? I think it's this weekend or next week. It's very soon. Um, I think I'll use the ship, and that's for Charles's trip here. And let's see what the cards around it have to say. Okay, so we're looking at King Charles's trip in the next few days to the US, where he will be spending time with the felon. We're looking for the ship. Did I pass it? I don't know if I forgot what I was looking for. No. Boy, the ship is deep in the deck. Okay, there it is. Okay, so this stands for King Charles' trip to the US. Okay, we know that the felon has a thing for monarchy. We know, of course, that he would love to be the monarch here. So he has, I'm not going to say respect. I'm going to say he has a lot of jealousy and, yeah, jealousy. I mean, I can't even say admiration, but anyway, he wishes that he were himself royal. So he's thrilled that Charles would be coming here. So we have the woman, the man, and you remember I picked the ship as our significator. So these could be, Charles, this could be the felon, this could be Melania, this could be Camilla. I don't know if she's coming or not, but the two couples, the one royal, the one wannabe royal, whatever. Anyway, here's the trip. And then we have Bouquet and Clover. This will be a quick trip in terms of how long the felon and Charles are in each other's company. So it'll be quick, but it'll be lovely. It'll be a mutual admiration society. Um, we know that whoever's last in the felon's ear is the one that he um, tends to lift up as somebody that he likes and admires, etc. So, Charles will have come and done this obligatory, I hate to say, kiss the ring um, trip. And the felon won't kiss anybody's ring. In fact, the felon thinks probably that Charles should be overthrown and that he should be installed as King of America and the UK. Uh, I think that nothing of note will be accomplished because, again, this is a nice card, but it's also superficial. So, it's like for the photo op, Melania will wear who knows what. Horse face Camilla, no offense, will look the way she always looks. But it'll be a photo op, and the felon will be very happy with that. And I guess so, therefore, Charles will have accomplished his goal, which is to keep his country in the relative good graces of the felon. So, this is the era that we live in until he's gone. Okay, a couple more things, but let me insert now the again, I have two other things, but then there's this third thing. So, you know how I've been sort of encouraging everyone to participate in the general strike on May 1st? Well, as I wrote in my Substack yesterday, what general strike May 1st? Because have you heard anything about it? Now, I did have a viewer say that they actually had gotten a lot of mail and had heard a lot of, seen a lot of correspondence about May 1st. I have not, and many of the rest of you have not. I had one viewer say that Indivisible decided that they would go in a different direction and instead focus on people being, warehoused in those big box containers, Um, but I haven't heard anything about that either. So, but when I was on with Lena made the very intelligent argument that, the reminder that May 1st is called May Day around the world. It's called May Day. And it is known as the Workers' Day. And so around the world, and this is not any kind of new thing, all of a sudden, for, decades and decades, May 1st has been um, observed around the world as a day that honors workers. So it is a day that where you don't go to work, you don't go to school, you celebrate. It is a day of celebration of workers and workers' rights. And so just because whoever thought they were organizing everybody in their 12 to 2, no kings, garden party marches because they dropped the ball. That doesn't mean that May 1st is not still a thing, because in the rest of the world, of course, it's a thing. And so, what Lena was saying last night is just do your own May 1st thing. Don't go to work, don't go to school, don't buy anything, don't sell anything. Just in your own individual way, treat the day the way the rest of the citizens of the world do, which is a day of rest and respect and honor and recognition for people who work by the sweat of their brow. And if you have any kind of job, that's what you do. So in the end, we don't need to be organized by any kind of group. We just um, do the observation. I'm disappointed that it's not become a big thing. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it's not. Um, because there was all that momentum after all the No Kings marches. But anyway, I plan to observe May 1st, Workers' Day, International Workers' Day, and encourage you to do the same. You know what? I'm curious. Here's what I want to know. Let's just ask the cards. Why have we heard, why is there not this huge momentum swell around May 1st, which, mind you, is next week? What happened? Why has it not been um, publicized nearly as much as any of the No Kings marches? And I think I'll let Spirit pick all the cards. Why did the May 1st general strike idea kind of lose steam? So we have the key, the woman, the man, the lily, the star. I just, the key is a great card. And the key, a lot of times, when you say, well, what does the key mean? It's like the answer. Uh, this is a card for hope. That's true. And again, we can each do our own version of International Workers' Day. There's nothing precluding that. There's no law that says that we can't do that. There's no law that says we can't gather in the streets. There's no law that says we have to purchase anything, go to work, go to school, none of that. But I think it makes the case that this has to be a grassroots um, movement, not endorsed or encouraged or organized by any single organization. We love to wait for somebody to tell us what to do, and these cards are saying, no, we need to be the change that we want to be in the world. Um, these two, this is just women and men. And I have to say that the lily feels very much to me like inertia. Like, I don't want to rock the boat. I just want to, I didn't mind going out between 12 and 2, but I don't know if I could take the day off from work. That's American think. That's how we are. We do not have a collective consciousness as a culture because instead we pride ourselves, as we were saying last night, on this rugged individuality, rugged individualism. And so we don't think about the group or the collective. Um, and so I guess people just would rather think up reasons why not to participate in something like that. which made probably these organizers say, you know what, this is a fool's errand. If people want to do it, they'll do it. If they don't, they won't, but we're not going to put our necks out. That's what I think happened. Unfortunate. And anyway, all right. Um, so to go back and beat a dead horse, I'd like to look again at Ghislaine Maxwell. As you know, I've done many readings on her. I have said many times that she's playing a very, very dangerous game. The game that she's playing is to say, I have information, and if you want me to play ball with you, let me out. And that has essentially been her message to the felon, which is why she's only spoken about the felon in highly complimentary terms, never implicated him in anything. Of course, she doesn't implicate herself in anything either, right? Well, apparently, well, and of course, because she has said nice things about the felon, the current acting attorney general, uh, Todd Blanche, at the time he was the assistant attorney general, went and met with her, as you know, and as a result, she ended up now in that cushy jail in Texas with a puppy, where her lawyer, who is a former associate of Attorney General Blanche, um, fills her requests, and on her request list are things like camembert cheese. And, I'm all for prisoners being fed healthy food, but I mean, camembert? Okay. Um, but anyway, the point is that now there is this sudden groundswell movement on the part of certain Republican lawmakers to offer her a pardon in return for her testimony to Congress. Now, is that why they're offering her a pardon? And we already know that her testimony will be uh, full of untruths. So, what really would be the reason that they're all of a sudden floating this pardon? My own feeling is that it's because she has information not just on the felon. We have seen with what Epstein files we have been able to read, that this whole cabal, which is what it is, this whole shadow government, this whole um, underground operation that includes politicians and lawyers and judges and people in the entertainment industry, et cetera. We know that it is a lot of people are implicated, and everybody wants to be kept safe from um, whatever Ghislaine could tell. So I think they're saying, oh, in return for coming to testify, but of course her testimony will be, I don't know anything, I never saw anything, oh, except for a bunch of Democrats. Not saying that she didn't see Democrats, not saying that Democrats are not accurately implicated in some of these deeds, but you know what I mean. If she says the right stuff, what they want to hear, and doesn't say what they don't want to hear, which is their names out of her mouth, then she'll get a pardon. That's what's being floated. So now, energy is mutable. And I said she was playing a dangerous game. She has been. Uh, but she knows where all the bodies are buried. So what I want to know is, will she get a pardon? Now, we also know that MAGA has been very anti-Maxwell. But the thing is, MAGA has also been, of late, very anti-felon. So if you think about it, does the felon uh, owe MAGA anything if they are now going to be turning on him? So he may say, hey, let her out. But remember, apparently Congress can let her out. Doesn't even have to be the felon doing it. The Congress apparently can pardon her. Who knew? Okay, so let's look at for Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to use the older woman for her. And we want to know what's new for her. Will she get out? Will she not get out? Um, what will happen? Nothing would surprise me. It would be quite a slap in the face to the victims or the survivors, but they've had plenty of slaps in the face already. What would be one more? I mean, again, we have to expect the unexpected. All right, so I'm looking for Ghislaine Maxwell. She will be the older woman. Has her uh, ploy to get out of jail won the day? Will she get out? Okay, so that's Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, we have the child, we have Clover, we have Maxwell, we have the mice, and we have the stork. An interesting line. So here's what I'll say. There have been new developments. Again, I mean, I read about it today in the paper. There are several Republican members of Congress who are saying we should do this. We should offer her a pardon in return for her full and fulsome testimony. Of course, full and fulsome just means it doesn't mean full and fulsome. It means don't put my name in your mouth. So this is a new development that is lucky for her. This card is nothing but luck. She's in the middle. What follows her is mice. And here, I mean, I think this is both excitement and anxiety. She has to give them exactly what they want in order to get the pardon. She cannot put a foot wrong, but she's not stupid. I mean, she knows what to say. And then we have the stork. For her, that's positive change. So I pulled cards on her. So here she is in the middle. She's got friends in very, very, very high places. Todd Blanche being one of them, the felon being one of them, these Congress people being several of them, which means that in the future, she will be rewarded for doing what they ask her to do, which of course will be to not implicate them, but to implicate everybody on the Democratic side. Okay. Fourth card after Maxwell is this mice card again. This is worry, anxiety, stress, but it's also real excitement. Okay. Clarifiers. The letter, the clouds, and the garden. Really excited, really worried, etc. This is a pardon being dangled. And then we have clouds and garden. So this will not please the people on either side, either on our side, but certainly not on MAGA's side. Nobody, we are united in that. Nobody wants her to get a pardon. So people will be really unhappy about that. Now we have the stork. The stork is positive change. And I said that the what was who was it positive for? For Maxwell, of course. But look at the clarifiers. The cross, the scythe, and then the lily. Um, I still think she will not meet a good end because not only will they expect her to testify a certain way, they will expect her to stick to that story. And what leverage do they have over her once she's pardoned to get her to stick to that story? So lilies, generally, when they're accompanied by the coffin, mean um, an unaliving. We don't have a coffin, but we certainly have kind of unaliving cards here. So um, I just want to pull a clarifier on the lily. Okay, it's the ring. I think I think she could be granted a pardon, but I don't think that that would mean she lives a life of ease. I think she will always have to look, um, have eyes in the back of her head. I think she will always be in danger. And I say that because of the cross and the scythe. I think peace will elude her until she achieves the peace that we all in the end achieve, if you know what I mean. Um, Whoopi said, "You in danger, girl." She would continue to be in danger because there are very, very powerful people who um, want her quiet. Like her father did not just go for a swim in the Mediterranean or whatever sea that was that he died in. Uh, did he fall? Was he pushed? Something happened. So she could well get pardoned, I think, but I don't think that that would be um, the end of her difficulties in this life. So we'll see. All right. I'm really dying to do a deep dive into Erica Kirk and may do it either over the weekend or tomorrow. I don't want to do it today because this has been enough for today. But she really interests me. Her her descent, her rise and her descent fascinate me because she's going down in flames, and I'd like to look more at that. So I'll do that another time. But anyway, thank you all so much for all your support, your kind words about my hair, um, your likes, your shares, your hypes, your comments. I read all the comments. And, I really appreciate this community. So thank you so much. And I will see you again very soon. Take care.